This is Carl Eller, and you're watching the One Bar and Lupagus show.
All right, welcome back to One Bar and Lupagus show. I'm Lupagus, and we are SKOL'ing with the enemy today. We are joined by our old friend Faiz from Faiz Sports Talk. Faiz, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay. I could be doing better because this has been an awful season for a Bears fan. But you know what? We're almost to the end, so gonna try to make it through.
Almost to the end, and we are two franchises in very much similar situations. Not where we want to be record-wise, and both potentially looking at a new head coach for next year. And that's kind of where we want to start. Matt Nagy, 100%, he's gone?
100%, 110%.
Are you surprised he lasted to this point?
No, I actually am not. The fan base is, because for whatever reason, they haven't studied the McCaskies, who are the Bears ownership group, their history. They have never, ever fired a coach in season. So I fully expected Nagy to last until the end of the season.
Okay. So do you think you guys can go with a defensive coach since you had an offensive coach, or do you not care? What are you looking for your next coach?
So if I had to pick, I would certainly pick towards offense. And I think that they're going to lean towards that direction because what really did Nagy in was that he came and was propped up to be this offensive guru and never delivered. You can look at any offensive metric, his offenses were putrid. So I do think they go after a offensive guy. There's a lot of names that have been thrown around there, you know, a bunch of hot assistants like Brian Dable or a number of these guys. Maybe
those are our guys. You stay away from them.
Yeah, see, exactly. But don't be surprised to see if the Bears try to lure some big names too that are like not even in the NFL, maybe a Jim Harbaugh or maybe a Sean Payton. Ryan Pace has ties to him, his days in New Orleans. So again, not saying it's going to happen, but I do think it is going to be an offensive guy. And all the guys that I listed, majority of them are offensive guys.
Do you prefer a coach with experience, or you want a young guy starting fresh?
I'm kind of torn on that, and the only reason why is because some of these assistants that need a shot, I feel like would do well. But at the same time, it's kind of where the roster to me is. If the roster is going to be a full rebuild, I don't mind bringing a new guy in that's not experienced. But if it is a roster that we're going to keep our veterans like Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, and we're going to go for it again and go all in, I'd rather get an experienced guy in here.
Mm-hmm. So talking about the roster, the guy who's in charge of the roster, Ryan Pace, what is his job safe, or is he gone too?
So Ryan Pace is tough. Ryan Pace is tough because of the fact that he has done some good things here. Now, you ask some Bears fans, they'll have pitchforks out for him. You ask other Bears fans, they think he's done a decent job. So with Matt Nagy, everybody hates him. So we're on the same page. But with Ryan Pace, he's kind of a polarizing figure. Here's where I'm at with Ryan Pace. If Justin Fields pans out, Ryan Pace should keep his job. But again, we don't know if that's going to be the case because you have to make a decision on him this year because of Matt Nagy being let go. My gut feeling is, and nobody's talking about this, I don't know why, I believe Ryan Pace gets reassigned within the organization. And they let him go from his GM position and they just move him to another position. Maybe they make it up, who knows. But he's done some good things here. He's had some good drafts. He's got misses just like every other GM. But for the most part, he built the defense, which was elite for a number of years. And I feel like he's certainly done a better job than Nagy. So if they want to keep him, fine, go for it. But I just feel like just to get rid of the Nagy Pace stink that's been here, you can just reassign him, bring in a new GM, and that GM could obviously have his head coach as well. So long answer short, I think they keep Ryan Pace, but not in the GM role.
It's funny you say that because there's a lot of rumors going around the Vikings doing the same thing with Rick Spielman, giving him a different role in the front office. But like I said, that'd be like a Jedi and losing your powers. You can't make the picks anymore. I mean, it'd be horrible. I couldn't do it. I don't know how you can still be there in that room and not be the guy making the final call.
I think it all depends on if you want to take that role. So I envision the McCaskies going to Ryan Pace and saying, listen, we want to reassign you. If you are okay with that, if you're not, then we want to go in a different direction at general manager. Ryan Pace, if he thinks, I don't think I can get another GM job, then I think he would take it. And I seriously do think he would consider taking a different position because he's been in the GM position since 2015. I'm not saying he can't get another GM job, but he's been here quite a while. So the track record speaks for itself. He's got no playoff wins, only one winning season. The draft has been the only solid thing about Ryan Pace.
All right, fair enough. All right, again, I'm here with Faiz from Faiz Sports Talk, talking about Bears Vikings, a meaningless game. So most of this conversations will be about other aspects because even though the game doesn't matter, there's still a lot going on with both these teams right now. It's actually kind of a hot time of the year, exciting time for fans in a game that's not going to mean anything on Sunday. Justin Fields, you know, you kind of said Ryan Pace, his success, or if he stays or not, is going to be tied to Justin Fields. What's your evaluation of Justin Fields? Are you happy with him so far? Happy with what you've seen? Or, you know, the draft's approaching, you kind of wishing you had those picks back?
I absolutely don't wish I had the picks back because I am happy with Justin Fields, but his season, I'm not going to lie, has been a mixed bag, right? He's got more interceptions than touchdowns. And I hear the chatter from the Vikings fans, from Packers fans that all, you know, take jabs at Justin Fields just because, again, the numbers aren't very good. But to me, it's not really about the numbers. It's about the progression that we see on the field. So overall, I'm happy with Justin. I just don't think the Bears have put enough talent around him. And again, you have Matt Nagy there. And as long as Matt Nagy is there, I cannot give Justin a proper evaluation. I need him with an actual head coach who's got a proper offensive scheme that knows what he's doing.
Wow.
Not do it with Matt Nagy. So Justin, to me, gets a pass.
That was as brutal as a Mike Zimmer press conference right there. That was harsh.
I gotta say it.
All right, Akeem Hicks. This is the final time the Vikings got to deal with this guy. Is he leaving Chicago?
Yeah, I think so. I truly believe the Bears will try to do a rebuild just because, you know, it's been so long with this defense that we've had these veterans there that you have to eventually go in a different direction. Again, I might change my mind in the offseason, but right now, as of today, end of the season, I'm feeling like we need to go through a rebuild. You've got a rookie quarterback. And again, rebuild doesn't necessarily mean 5 years of rebuilding the team. In football, in the NFL, you can go from last to first in a season. So we could call it a retool, if you will. But for the most part, the veteran defensive players on this roster, if we can get some good trade value for them, I do think they will look to move them, and that probably includes Akeem Hicks.
So you talk about the rebuild. So right now, who are some core players on your team or guys you think are going to be around, guys you can build around moving forward?
Yeah, no, this one's definitely something that I've been looking at for the last few weeks when the games became meaningless. Definitely, obviously, everything starts and ends with Justin Fields. He pans out. He's the franchise quarterback. Darnell Mooney has had a solid season. He's shown that he could be a very, very solid number 2. I still don't think he's a number 1, but he's shown flashes. Cole Kmet, again, he is not exactly Travis Kelce like some people thought, but again, is he a solid tight end? Can he be one? Yeah, I think so. On the offensive line, we drafted Tevin Jenkins. Again, he didn't play a lot of this season, but when he did play, he's shown that he can be a bit of a mauler. He just needs to clean up in some areas. You know, we also drafted Khalil Herbert this year. He showed some flashes when David Montgomery went down, and David Montgomery is still a relatively young running back that we can keep. That's just the offensive side, by the way. Defensively, Jalen Johnson, one of the better young corners in the NFL. Certainly, I do think he's going to be around for a while. And then Roquan Smith, he's probably going to be leading this defense for the next, 10 years. Yeah, that's kind of what I think is really the core for the team. But all starts and ends with Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty much what I thought you were going to say. So you do have more than that I was initially thinking, though. So there's some good players.
I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Nagy, the Bears players actually have talent.
Oh, wait, no.
I have a head coach who doesn't know how to use them. That's where I'm at.
All right. So speaking of the Bears players, who's been the biggest surprise in a good way?
I really, really was impressed with Khalil Herbert when he came on. When Monty went down, I mean, he just absolutely came through, and he was running with juice, and he was running like he was shot out of a cannon. And here's the thing: I love David Montgomery, I really do, but running back is a position you just don't pay. And for the most part, unless you have a Dalvin Cook, a Christian McCaffrey, you usually try not to pay those guys. And even Carolina might have some regrets about CMC after his injury history. So you love having a guy in your back pocket like a Herbert that maybe you can have that can run effectively. So he definitely has surprised me for the most part. So I really like what he's done. So that's definitely one guy I would say that surprised me.
Yeah, I definitely was a fan of Herbert coming out, wanted him, but we went with Ngwangu instead, who's been pretty damn good himself. All right, again, I'm here with Faiz from Faiz Sports Talk. Link to his page will be in the descriptions. Check him out. At least give him some harassing for the final game, final time you can this year, in a game that's going to be basically a glorified preseason game. All right, so who's been the biggest disappointment? I mean, what player did you have high hopes for? It's absolutely just broken your heart.
Man, that is a long list of players, but I think Eddie Jackson's fall off has been very, very sad to see. I mean, there was points in the season where the Bears defense would have been better if he wasn't on the field. So he went from being like one of our core players to just being another player. So he had a precipitous drop off that obviously I didn't like. And then, as far as the offense, I mentioned Cole Kmet as part of the core, but I expected him to take another leap, and he's just been kind of there. He just it's usually the same thing every week. I've been looking for a ceiling game from him. Again, not a major disappointment maybe, but I did want a little bit more. And of course, this has to be said. I have no idea what happened to Allen Robinson, but whoever that was suited up in Allen Robinson's body. That guy just didn't show up this season, and went literally from let's pay him to we can't wait to get rid of Allen Robinson. And he by far has been the biggest disappointment.
He was true nook and blanky. He was a safety net. He threw to him all the time.
And I'm telling you, it's not like he lost his talent overnight. I think it was just a lack of effort. He didn't get paid, and it was just I guess I'm just not going to try anymore. So
do you think he maybe didn't want to play with a rookie quarterback?
I really do think A-Rob stopped giving his 110% effort after we couldn't extend him. And I think it was just a matter of for the first few weeks, okay, Darnell Mooney's playing a little bit better than me. It is what it is. And again, we're playing with Andy Dalton. But when Justin Fields got under center, I think he should have understood that, now it's the time to turn it up, and he went the other way.
Yeah.
Just to give you an example of how bad his season's been, he hasn't had a game over 70 yards all season. Justin Jefferson does that in the first quarter.
Yeah, I forgot about that he was on your team. I mean, you think of the Bears receiver, you think of Darnell Mooney. No, who comes to mind?
Allen Robinson. So he has been a major disappointment. Absolutely. And by the way, I do want to shout out real quickly when you were talking about one of the biggest surprises, Robert Quinn too. He slipped my mind. Broke the Bears single season sack record. By the way, he went from one of the worst signings that Pace ever had to one of the best in one season. So I did want to shout out Robert Quinn, because that's not a hard record to that's a hard record to break.
Oh yeah,
that's a very hard record, especially in Chicago where we've had a number of defense players.
And we drafted Christian Ponder instead of him. So yeah, that's where we're sitting there. All right, so Bears, they're playing their starters final game.
Yeah, I believe they'll play their starters again. We have no reason to because we're out of the playoffs. But at this time, I think Matt Nagy probably knows it's his last game and wants to go out with his guys. Again, I mentioned this to you a little earlier. Justin Fields' status is in doubt. He did get placed on the COVID list, so we could see the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton under center. I don't know why maybe we don't start Nick Foles, but it is what it is at this point. Who cares? So Justin Fields might not be out there, but I fully expect Nagy to go down with his guys, which means the starters.
Yeah, we might see Sean Mannion versus the Red Rocket at some point.
Look at that. And when I said red rifle, I mean the beige water pistol. That's what we done. So.
Yeah, last time Dalton came to town, he won. So
he did. I love Andy. By the way, Andy's a great guy. He's a great quarterback, but it's just that we know what we have with Andy. That's the only thing. He's a great backup quarterback. Yeah. I just wish he was a backup quarterback for us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, one more for Faiz. Again, thanks for hopping on. Actually, two more. I want to ask you something. So
Sure.
Who got your guys' draft pick as your first rounder for Fields?
I believe it was the Giants.
With the Giants. Okay. And then you guys still have your second rounder or not?
I believe so. But with Ryan Pace, you never know. He mortgages our future every summer.
Okay. I'm just curious because I think we'll talk with you again around draft time. But if you don't have a first round pick,
Yeah. No, it's going to be tough. And again, keep an eye out on Ryan Pace's status as well. Obviously, if he is gone, then maybe the new regime trades up. But again, maybe even Ryan Pace does that. So we don't know yet. But yeah, we'll see.
No, you guys have had some solid second rounds. So if you got a pick there, you're going to do well. That's for sure. You guys keep getting guys I want, so I hate that. I hate seeing that.
No, you're absolutely right about that. Pace never nails the top 3 rounds. He always nails the bottom middle rounds. So we're better off not having picks in the first.
There you go. There you go. All right. How do you see the meaningless game on Sunday shaking out?
Let me ask you if you expect the Vikings to play their starters.
Oh, Zimmer said they were. So yes, I do think they will. In a game doesn't mean anything. The Vikings will probably play their best game of the year because that's what they do.
So if the Vikings do play their starters, and again, neither team has any reason to, the Vikings are the better team. And especially now with Fields' status in doubt and Andy Dalton starting, I think Minnesota will win this game. Honestly, we've had the Vikings number the last couple of seasons, but I don't take any of that into account in this one. The roster is clearly better. The offense is clearly better. You get Kirk Cousins back, maybe this week. I know you mentioned Sean Mannion, but I think he was activated off the COVID. So
he's ready to go.
If Kirk Cousins is back, and it sounds like he is, I don't know how the Vikings lose this game with him going against Andy Dalton. So I got the Vikings winning this one.
Yeah, we played him in this game last year. We won that one as well. It cost us Rashawn Slater. So we'll see what it costs us this year. But you don't know. You don't know who's going to be there. You don't know who the draft order is going to shake out. So
yeah, you never know.
All right, Faiz, thanks for hopping on. Always good talking with you. Wish we were in a little better position team-wise, but that's the way it goes.
Well, looking forward to the offseason with a bunch of other teams, so can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Again, check them out, Faiz Sports Talk. Link will be in the description. And guys, remember, always keep your skull in your hole.